before I proceed with this video, I understand it might be going on for a fair bit, so if you're one of those people that just want to instantly see all the examples of the primitive green clothing skins in the jungle biome and whatnot, just look at the description, everything's chaptered. If you truly wish to skip ahead, the options provided to you there. Good day, Ruskin enjoyers. Hope you're doing alright. So, right now, it's May 1st. We have just had the May Force Wipe. We've had the update, jungle updates out, and, well, let's just give you some context first, and then we'll start doing some examples and showcases. So, I'm going to focus talking about the primitive skins. I'm going to kind of split this in two. So, primitive skins in this video, and then we'll have like the core pieces, that being like hoodie and pants, tier 2, tier 3. We'll have that in a separate video, alright? It'll go on too long if we did all that. So anyway, focusing this, I made a video about 2-3 weeks ago, because Facepunch revealed the jungle update was coming out on May 1st and we could test out everything on staging, and I did a lot of videos, didn't I? I did a lot of showcases of various different clothing and armor pieces, primitive and of course like tier 3, tier 2 and whatnot, and quite quickly we found out that it's pretty insane how effective green camouflage is in the jungle biome. It is maddening how easy it is. Like even a budget $10 set was very, very effective. Anyway, let's focus. So, how insane it was, speculators were going wild. They were grabbing whatever they could. They were grabbing this, that, clothing, armor, you name it. It was so silly that they were even buying out the likes of the bombshell backpack. So what's so silly about this? Well, this is the only green skin backpack we have, and just to show you, you know, just look at that, completely bought out. You don't need this because the standard large backpack is already dark green. It's already very well effective as like being camouflage. But yet people still were going crazy and buying everything they could. So, so that's how that was. All right. As you can see right now, we have 200,000 people playing the game. Tomorrow there'll be more probably, and Saturday there'll probably even more than that. We have just seen April finish with just under 98,000 average player count for the month. That is the worst we have seen so far this year, but that was to be expected. That was the Easter dip. We see less people playing, and we see prices drop off. But now, with the jungle update out, we're expecting a nice push. We're going to start seeing prices improve, more people playing. Not too hard to comprehend. But here's the funny thing. This was us at our worst so far in 2025, and yet, do you remember back in the summer of 2024, you know? June was absolutely amazing. Tons of people playing. Prices were reaching new all-time high like peaks. Like everything was great for Ruskins. But that's the same number basically from what we see here. And that really like sets the tone. I don't know how insane the summer is going to be, but yeah, I think we'll probably be matching up to January, you know? Peak player count, average player count. Is it going to be like that June, July, August? There's a hope, and there's a very, very solid chance. But right now, with it being May, all kids in the world are still in school. I believe next month, North America, you're going to start seeing no kids having their summer vacation, and the month after that, European as well. So, when they don't have time, they don't have to focus homework, and they don't have to focus class and exams, what are they going to do? Go outside, play? No, they're going to play Rust. So, yeah, that is where I think we're going to start seeing the really big player counts. But as of now, what we're seeing, it's a good start. No complaints. Right, so, in this video back over to here, I bring up how a lot of collections of skins and whatnot were being bought out, prices were improving, lots of skins peaked up very high, but after that, then they kind of cooled down a fair bit. I need to talk about this, don't I? So let's just kind of explain this situation. Why is it so many interesting looking green skins went up in price ever so high, but then they went back down afterwards? So, let's just kind of look at the leaf poncho, the banana leaf poncho to be precise, as you can see. Here's the fun thing I want to bring up to all of you. Around October time in 2024, this was selling for just under $2. Post-Christmas, it goes all the way up to about $3.50, $4. And of course, with the jungle hype, it went all the way up to about $20+ at one point. Yes, a sale above $20 did happen. But then it calmed down, cooled off, and well, it's now sitting there at $9. Wilder's pushing up to $7. There's, you know, some decent support to keep it up. But then we also have to bring up that, what did we see being accepted today in the May Force Wipe Ruster? Oh, look, Reptile Hunter. Ta-da! That is only $2. And that right there is more than enough. The bandana, It does have quite a fair bit of transparency, and don't worry, we'll be doing some comparisons in a bit, don't you worry. But that right there is so much more affordable in comparison to, the banana leaf bandana and the banana leaf poncho. That is definitely going to have a bit of an impact. But with only so many of these around, and so many of these listed on the Steam market, maybe it isn't that bad. We shall see. But they have both, by default already, before we even saw the Reptile Hunter skins appearing today, they're already going down in price. So it was already at around $8 today. What gives? Well, the speculators jumped in, they grabbed everything they could, and now we wait for the actual genuine demand. Lots of people turned up today. Lots of people are enjoying the jungle biome. Feel free to comment below. Have you been enjoying it? How many times have you been grabbed? How many times have you been ambushed from someone jumping out of a bush? I'd love to hear it. But I need to kind of like set the tone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring up the Whiteout collection. This is always in demand. There isn't really anything that compares to it. You could, probably do something makeshift with the comics collection, maybe the Thundergold collection. But you understand, there's no other like full complete set that competes with the Whiteout collection. And before we even had jungle biome and whatnot, everybody was like kind of enjoying themselves in the snow and whatnot. And the Whiteout, it's very effective as white camouflage, isn't it? So this is always usually in demand, and I kind of want to just kind of showcase to you how this has behaved over the past like year or so. So let's just go back to October 2023. This is kind of sitting at around $9. All right, that was it at a low point. And then as we steered towards post-Christmas, it went up ever so nicely, all the way up to about $15, $16. Now, here's something I have to get across to all of you. Post-Christmas can be quite quick. Yes, we'll have the autumn-fall seasonal dip, September, October, November. We tend to see a bit of a drop with the player count. We will see prices drop off as well, reach new low points for the year. But then after that, as we steer towards December, Christmas time, kids don't have to go to school as much, in the Western world at the very least. People have time off. They usually have like a week or so where they're not working as much towards the end of December, rolling into January. And of course, Christmas money, if Western world. But point is, there'll be time off. Kids, everyone, they have time to play Rust and whatnot. And we see prices kind of spike quite nicely and reach new all-time high prices ever so lovely. So that is what you see here. So yes, January time, 2024. Then that went up to about $16, as I said. But of course, with what we just went through, spring, Easter dip, it drops off. Those people with the time off, those kids, they're out of school, they got to go back to school, they got to go back to work, focus exams, pay the bills. Oh no, they don't have time for us. So player counts drop off, and that is what we have seen as of recent. That's why I made a fuss about this. But once we reach the summertime, what happens all over again? Well, as I said, summer vacation. So kids are out of school. Yeah, okay, those people who have jobs, maybe they still have to work, but maybe things are a bit lax around then, no worries too much, whatnot. Maybe they have some more free time. Maybe they take their holidays. They will probably have more time and more enthusiasm to play Rust and whatnot. We'll see. But the big difference is, post-Christmas tends to be a bit quick. So like December, January, that's it. But when it comes to the summer, we'll roll into May time. We'll have a nice enjoyable time. Then we go through June, July, the player counts will keep rising, and you're most likely going to see prices peak around July and August. May, June, July, August. It goes on for longer, but you don't see the prices just go. You see them graciously and nicely rise up in price. Genuine demand. To be very straightforward, more people playing, more people enjoying themselves, more demand for skins. Genuine demand leads to the prices, the stock from the Steam market third-party sites slowly disappearing, and prices rise because of it. So, as you can see here, we did reach a nice all-time high peak back in August of 2024. And it didn't happen very quickly, but it took its time, and it did go higher than what we saw with post-Christmas. And then the autumn-fall seasonal dip, September, October, November. Oh, God. But post-Christmas, and it's happening all over again, isn't it? So we actually saw prices dip around February, March time this year. And in this particular instance with Whiteout, it's actually kind of already started going up. It's already kind of getting close to the price it sold for around January time. As I said, it's not going to be huge gains. It's going to probably stagnate for a while or just hold its value and then slowly start to go up, and then it'll reach a new peak price maybe around July or August time. That has happened many times with Whiteout, as you can see. So, with what we saw there, very likely will now happen to likes of this, alright? So, I think we've got the point across. Yes, initially we had the hype, but with many of these skins, whilst they have gone down, they have still managed to maintain a price that's much better than where it was like a month ago, 2 months ago, if that's understandable. And from here and now, so as long as the jungle biome remains fun and enjoyable to jump in and whatnot, I think we will see these prices slowly and graciously rise up a price, not only during the summer, but from here and now. But if we do see more competition, like I said with Banana Leaf, and the brand new, oh, not you, go away, Reptile Hunter, yeah, like, okay, that can lead to some issues. So one thing I should also bring up, a lot of people are like, oh, we didn't get any green tier 3, tier 2 hoodie and pants today. I'm fine with that, you know? No problems for my flashbacks and Reptile Hunter investments. Some of you probably invested into Franken tier 3, UFO tier 3, some of you probably invested into tank armor, probably you also had bombshell, you probably also had some other nice green things I can't fully remember right now. Point is, if there's no new stuff, alright, cool, then the things that already exist can spike in price and whatnot. Yeah. But it won't be spiking, but the genuine demand will be, people will go look for that, grab that, and then the stock on the Steam market will slowly disappear. But we're not here to focus the core pieces today, that being hoodie pants tier 2 and tier 3. I'm here to just mainly focus the primitive stuff. So, what do we have right here? Deep Sea Poncho, and you just probably saw just a minute ago, it was spiking all the way up to about $5 at one point, and then it calmed down. So, with the arrival of the Reptile Hunter, maybe that will be taking a bit of a hit. But as you can see, as you look at the listings, and just to point out, many people keep asking me, Hedge, how are you able to see more listings and more buy orders? That is the Steam Inventory Helper extension. That is on Chrome, right? Steam Inventory Helper. Now, give it time. 1111. That could easily go up to $3. 1111. That could easily go up to $4. Like, some people, they got a little bit worried. They got a little bit antsy. They got a little bit unsure. And they listed more and more. I don't want to bring up flashbacks right now, but I'm sure many of you have seen the flashbacks hoodie. We'll save that for the other video. But as you can see, yes, this appears to have gone down in price. But the buy orders are still there. They're still keeping that price up. It's better than where it was before. And as we go through the summer, let's see how it goes. If the genuine demand is there, that will get bought and the prices will rise back up again. Okay? That is the expectation. Nothing is a guarantee. Let's make sure that's like a chapter and everything. Nothing is a guarantee. If we keep seeing more green primitive skins being produced and accepted, that can lead to issues. There's other things, there's other options. It's kind of like, I keep complaining about garage doors always being accepted. Today we just got 2 in the same Rust store, and now we have 2 Twitch drops. If Facepunch keeps providing and providing and providing, there's too many options. It's hard for each skin to maintain interest. It's hard for them to maintain their value. So if we keep seeing more green ponchos and whatnot, that's going to lead to a problem. But if it's just the Reptile Hunter from here and now, and then that's it for maybe another, I don't know, 3 years, okay, all of them will be appreciated. Their prices may vary. Some of them might be actual full proper collections, some might not, like Deep Sea Poncho. But people are always going to keep looking around for options. And that is essentially what happened to Deep Sea Poncho, because, well, nobody really cared for it for a very long time, and then they started to, and well, look at that, from October, 6 months, this was selling for like 90 cents to $1, and then at one point it went all the way up to $5. Imagine if you invested into that right there. And there was mentions of the jungle update around here, but who would have guessed? Who would have known? Right then, so that right there, it's not too bad. We've already tested it out. So just to quickly remind all of you, on YouTube, I didn't make just that video. I was making tons and tons and tons and tons of short videos. And as you might notice right there, oh look, primitive jungle camouflage skins, and look what I'm wearing right there. Ah, there you go. There's the Deep Sea Poncho, and I also kind of showcased it there when I'm hiding, like not even hiding, I'm just standing on the tree branch and I'm camouflaged. So, okay, that's pretty cool. No complaints right there. So, yeah, loads of videos were provided. I'm sure a lot of people saw it, and I've got to show the tweets now. So, as I was like showcasing myself and staging, trying to get the point across that, wow, green clothing and armor is really effective as camouflage in a jungle biome. Case in point, here's me like wearing full fish. And do you see me now? Do you see me now? Do you see me now? So yeah, I'm right there, by the way. That was seen by 9,000 people. I was putting out tweets like this, and they just kept getting thousands upon thousands upon thousands of views. And well, I don't normally get that, but I was providing it to people, and they were enjoying it. They were liking it, and, well, yeah, point made. Cool, 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 cool. So, essentially, it got to the point where I was like, guys, you know what? You don't have to have green clothing and armor. You don't have to have it. You can just cover your body, make sure you're dark coloured, like brown, black. As you can see there, I'm just wearing the snake mask with a standard bandana. I'm wearing one of the older green snow jacket skins. I'm wearing, I think it's default. Ah, yeah. I have to bring that. Oh, no, that was, what's this? It's just some brown pants, and I'm wearing my frog boots. And, yeah, can you see me now? If you can't tell, pause right now. Quickly try and see if you can guess. All right, I'm actually right there. So, yeah, as you can see, like the leaf there and the other trees there, and yeah, I'm in that opening just over there. So I established that point. So perhaps other people will figure that out, and maybe that could affect the green skin prices. All right. But in terms of primitive options, right now, whilst prices did go up, they're still not that expensive, and I'll be showing that off to you in a second. Don't you worry. So now I have to bring up Banana Leaf Poncho. You went up to a very absurd price. You are still getting sales, 31 sales in the past 24 hours. But I've got to be honest with you, even with the Reptile Hunter appearing today, it doesn't even look like it's gone down. Let's see here. So earlier... No, I mean, yesterday it was selling for like $9. We saw a few sales go below $8, but now it's still $9. So we'll see what becomes of that. But yeah, people still be appreciating. And I have to bring up... The skin creators are definitely providing potential collection continuations. Hoodie and pants, jacket, just saying, just saying. And then, of course, we had the bandana. That is now $4. And I gotta be honest with you, you could just use a standard green bandana and it's just as effective. We'll show that off in a second. We'll show it off, don't worry. So, yeah, look at that. Before, just about over $1. If I go back even further, how expensive was it? Oh, okay, that really sets the tone. Literally a year ago, March 2024, that bandana was selling for about 40 cents American. Now it sells for 10 times the price. Wow, okay then, that's cool. And if you could just see this, $1111111, $5, $6. What happens now? We shall see. Fish Poncho, you were appreciated. You were bought out. You have dipped a fair bit. But the full fish collection, all the primitive skins, they have been doing very, very nicely. So it's not just this poncho, but as you can see, it did spike up a bit. Slightly gone down, but it's actually done a very good job in terms of maintaining that bumped up price. Could it go up even higher? 1112, 14, 1112. Yeah, it looks like it could. There's not that much build up, not that much quantity. It could still graciously rise up in price. That's the point I was trying to get across to you earlier. But the fish head, that did drop off a fair bit. That is some very easy... it's very easy to just get a head wrap, isn't it? Like, few cloth, there you go, job done. Now, I have to bring this up. If you have a pale character, if like really white, you're going to get noticed a lot more compared to a black skin character. But if you could just get something like that, super helpful, isn't it? So, initially, just before, selling for about $1.70. And then afterwards, now it sells for just about almost $3.50, just above. So yeah, but then you look at listings, 22. You're not doing anyone any favors. Stop it. Yeah, that could be a bit of a problem. It's a bit of an obstacle, but yeah, point made. So cool. Then we had the Fishman set. Fishman is, well, it was already expensive, and it only became even more expensive. The hat, not so much, not as helpful because you can still see your face, but you can use a bandana with it. But then you go, oh. This was pushing all the way up to about $15, $16 at one point. It has cooled off, but as you can see, it's actually starting to pick up again. This is like the best green burlap option. But I will point out to you a very cheap, affordable option that's absolutely free. What are you talking about? Oh, you don't realise you probably already own some very useful burlap clothing. But yep, as you can see there, very nice and quite pricey. Maybe not everybody will be able to afford it, but it was already kind of pricey anyway. People were fully well aware it was already like the best green option for some cheap green burlap, cheap green primitive. I've kind of lost my tongue, so let's just kind of wrap this up. Right, so I didn't mention this in the previous video, but Wasteland Hunter gloves. Some people said, you know what, you don't have to have fish gloves, you could do those as well. I was like, all right then, and I looked at the price, I was like, yeah, maybe not. Maybe you don't need them. Maybe you could just use standard gloves, standard leather gloves, some standard like leather hide boots or burlap shoes if you want. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of it, but I'll still show it off. But yeah, that was already like expensive. It came out years ago, so yeah, even back in like November, that was still selling for like $15. Whew. Right, so I know a lot of people are bringing it up, but I just wanted to bring that up and point out that it's a bit pricey. So. We'll start doing a showcase now. We'll start showcasing skins. But let me just remind you of one quick little thing. So I'm on SCM.app right now. I am looking at the database, and I want to remind all of you of the DRUID Burlap clothing. This is something you very likely got for absolutely free back at some point in 2024. It was a Twitch drop. I believe it was like halfway through the year. Here you go. Do you remember this? It was May 2024. Okay, 2024. So as you can see here, this was get away with this batch. Oh, that was the Rust Kingdoms. Yes, I know a lot of you were watching back then. Unfortunately, if you missed out, that's a problem. But this was a generic skin. This was a generic skin. And why am I bringing this up? It's got green, it's got brown, and that's perfectly fine for some camouflage. And oh, if only there was a method in which I could showcase this to you. Oh, that's a nice bright sun. No, what do we have here? Right. So, I did ask earlier, have you spotted any snakes in the grass as you've been wandering around in the jungle biome? Gentlemen, ladies, and everybody else, get a good look at this. We have mannequins on display showcasing some nice primitive green options. To the few people, well, to a lot of people who probably skipped ahead to this point, we've been talking a lot about prices. And let me point out to you, some of these are quite expensive and some of these are very, very approachable and very, very affordable. So, you might notice right over here, we have the brand new Reptile Hunter, Poncho and Bandana. And, well, to really kind of make the joke, all of these guys are wearing snake masks. But the point is, snake mask is essentially a wolf headdress. It's technically a skin. It's not, but it is, but it isn't. But you get the idea. Same stats. That does cover the head, and there are other masks that probably do a better job than that, but considering the jungle update, snakes and whatnot, kind of committing to a bit here. But yeah, with the bandana, it does cover the face, and I am wearing the DRUID Burlap clothing. I am wearing standard hide boots, standard leather gloves, which, by the way, are a lot easier now to make because you don't need the string. Yep. So, yeah, do you reckon that's nice and effective? I think it does a perfectly fine, good job. Now, to really get the point across, you have to kind of be aware of this, and I did allude to this as we slowly go into the darkness. Gentlemen, so as long as you're wearing darker clothing, brown, black, green, dark green, it doesn't really matter. It's all nice and effective if you're in the shade. Yes, in the sun it might be a little bit different. Totally respect that, totally understandable. But as you can see, doesn't make that much of a difference now, does it? You can kind of spot the banana leaf a little bit more. But anyway, and the fisheye. But if you hide in a bush, it's all good. And how many people are going to instantly spot you? Well, we'll have to do some sort of test in a bit. But yeah, you don't have to worry too much about always getting green. If you just make sure you're dark enough, like a good dark brown, you should be alright, honestly. And you could save a lot of money. But if you really want to go all in for it, then yes, go spend your money. So, that brand new Reptile Hunter set, well, the poncho is $2. The bandana is $1. The snake mask is pushing about $2 at the moment. The burlap's free. And the boots, the gloves, they're also just standard. So, that's only about $5. That's only about $5. Yeah, you don't have to spend that much. Now, if you make a move right now and buy in, then yeah, that makes sense. I have to bring this up, though. The rush store rotated probably about several hours ago, yeah. This poncho already has 9,000 subscribers. And that's subscribers, that's the bare minimum sales. At least 8,900 people have bought this skin. How many did they buy each? I can't answer that. But I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people probably bought a bunch of them because they think they can flip them at some point in the future. Ooh, that might be a bit of a problem. I think we might be seeing quite a lot of those being bought. So it might be $2 now in the rush store. Will it always be $2? Will we see a little bit too many appearing on the Steam market at some point in the future? Maybe that might become even more cost effective. So if you're looking at that as a nice potential investment, wait it out until Wednesday. Of course, every Wednesday night, I'll be on my stream. Look at the description. You'll see links to all my socials. You'll see my Twitch link right there. And when it comes to abnormals, we'll figure out prices beforehand, and we'll race to put barders down. And then afterwards, we'll see how many barders each of the skins have, how high the price goes, and then we'll feel a little bit more confident, perhaps, in regards to whether we actually want to jump in and invest into those skins, aka buy them straight from the store. That poncho, keep an eye on it, right? You've been warned. Right, so, why don't we go give these guys a good look? So over to here, We have the Druid Burlap clothing with the standard hide boots, but over to here, oh look, it's the Wasteland gloves I mentioned a little bit earlier. Do you have $22 spare? Does it really make that much of a difference? You might sit there and say yes, that's fine, go spend that money. Now, we didn't really make too much of a fuss about this poncho over the past few weeks, but that is the Camouflage poncho, I can't remember the name fully. It's the very expensive one that costs about $80. I mean, if you want it, go get it. But I'm using a standard green bandana there, and it does a perfectly fine job in terms of covering my face. All of the characters we have here on display, they're all pale skin, right? So, does it do a good enough job covering up the full body? And if they're like crouched, do you reckon it'd be even better? I think they would. So, just a nice little showcase here. Give that a good look. Nice greens, browns. I think that's nice and effective. Don't let them see your bald spot. Right, Banana Leaf, you were pushing up to a very high price along with the Fishman Burlap set. Yes. But I'm sure you agree that burlap clothing is probably the best green option we have for primitive burlap. Now, the bandana, the poncho, a very nice, effective bit of covering there. Yeah, that snake loves to eat some leaves, it seems. Standard gloves, standard boots, seem to be A-OK. But keep an eye out, you never know. Maybe we'll start seeing some more leather gloves and hide boots or burlap shoes and whatnot being produced that are green. I know the skin creators are considering it. Reptile Hunter. Anyway, so we've already given the Reptile Hunter a lovely good look. Why don't we go ahead and move over to the side here? We now have the sea poncho. Yep, give that a good look. And of course, standard boots, gloves. It's fine, and it isn't that expensive. And then over to here. Fish collection. So the hoodie, the burlap shirt and pants, they're not that green, but they're also not like super bright and pink and red and whatnot. It's not like super stand out. You do have the leather gloves, but then again, do you really need them? They are kind of pricey. And then you also have the burlap shoes as well. Look at my little toesies. So yeah, I'd love to hear your opinions based on the different options I provided here. And I know I did do a lot of them with the Druid Burlap, but again, you very likely have that for free and you probably didn't realise. And you can see that it is doing a pretty good job in terms of being nice and effective as some jungle green primitive camouflage. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go take these guys away. We're going to go do some nice showcases in the bushes and whatnot. So why don't we go ahead and do that right now. Gentlemen, it is one day later. How you doing? Now, before we proceed to showcase all those lovely looking primitive green skins, I really do need to get the point across of you don't have to just buy a full set and just stick with using the full set. You're more than welcome to do some mixing and matching. Now, with what we just saw a minute ago, I kind of showcased like all those lovely looking green primitive sets with a snake mask. Now, as you can see here, we have had many other Lunar masks in the past. I thought the snake mask was the cheapest. It was, but it has gone up in price a fair bit recently. But you could also consider looking at the Ox mask, you could look at the Dragon mask, you could pick out any other ones, doesn't matter. Main point is, you have the freedom to choose. Now, as we go over to here, can confirm, Snake Mask is now just over $3. A good month ago, it was actually cheaper. It was actually sitting around just barely over $2. But, of course, jungle, people realised, well, some nice, cheap, affordable primitive green options. Well, that actually works quite nicely with a chosen batch of bandanas. So, it's in your hands how you approach everything. You have the freedom. And I've had a little bit of freedom. I have actually concocted a devilish, very expensive primitive green set just for fun. So let's go ahead and take a look at it right now. Ladies, gentlemen, what you're looking at right here, that is $150. So let's just go through the pieces right now. Instead of a snake mask, I thought maybe the rat mask might be a nice little touch. I'm going to hide. I'm going to lurk in the bushes. And when you come running by, I get you. That rat mask is $20. Maybe you might want to stick with the snake mask or another one. That's up to you. Now, this bandana we have here is the Forest Camo bandana. That's actually not expensive. That's a skin you get as a drop. You know how every now and then you might get like a loot box. You might get like a free skin. That's one of those free skins. But that is very helpful in this jungle. And it's about 30 cents at the moment. Now, just a bit below that, we have this camo netting poncho that came out years ago. That's $78. For your choice if you wish. And of course, we also happen to have the Fisherman Burlap shirt and pants. They'll cost you together about $23, just about. Now over here, the Wasteland leather gloves, that's going to set you back $24 at the moment. And then down over to here, we have the Fish Burlap shoes. Well, they're going to cost you about $7.50. So in total, it's going to cost you about $150. You want to give it a shot? But with that, I thought, all right, we could at least test it out. We could see if a very expensive option like this, is it going to make that much of a difference? Or are some of the other budget options we have still going to be just as effective in the jungle? Well, that's what we're here for. That's what we want to go ahead and find out. Now, if you want to be a little bit pricey and yet, still try and save a lot of, potential money, you could just completely, skip the poncho and get something else. If you happen to be a frog boot enjoyer, a lucky person such as I, well, you could just stick with using them. You could just probably commit to having some standard leather gloves, but you could probably instead consider using the banana leaf poncho and the bandana. Now I ask you, does that blend in nicely with the Fisherman Burlap set there? What are your thoughts? Feel free to consider commenting below. Alright, let's look at some of the other options then. As I said, it is the next day, and well, here was the rush store that we got for May 1st, 2025, and I pointed out we have the Reptile Hunter poncho and the bandana. Well, they have sold pretty excessively. With just 24 hours of sales, that Reptile Hunter poncho did over it did about 17,000 subscribers. Bandana did about 15,000 subscribers. Yeah, they're probably both going to be doing over 30,000 subscribers by the end of the week. Now, that might be a little bit too excessive, and that means you could probably get them potentially even cheaper. Maybe over the course of the summer. Maybe at some point, maybe around September, October, November time, if you want to wait a little bit longer. But point is, it's probably not going to be going up in price anytime soon, unless we do see a collection continuation. Well, we'll see. Right then, shall we actually go ahead and showcase it right now? Now this is even cheaper compared with the combination we just had with the banana leaf a minute ago. But you might have noticed, what have I done with the bandana? Well, here's the thing. With the Reptile Hunter bandana, it has a lot of transparency on it. In terms of a creative choice, okay, not going to complain about that. But in terms of, I have a very pale character. They're very white. If I want to conceal myself in the jungle, in the shade and whatnot, that's not good. So for a much more cheaper option, the Forest Camo bandana, which costs about 30 cents on the Steam market, well, I think I'd rather use that with this full set here. My full body is pretty much covered. Yes, overall it can be a bit pricey, but still considerably cheaper compared to banana leaf, and of course much cheaper compared to if we were using the camo netting poncho. So honestly, it's mainly the poncho, the Reptile Hunter poncho, that I'm very curious about. And if it is selling excessively, maybe you might be able to pick it for cheaper in the future. Who knows, but all signs lead to we're probably going to be seeing a lot of them listed on the Steam market and on third-party sites. In terms of usefulness, though, I'm definitely liking it. And I think a lot of people could approve that for that being the cheapest green poncho, that's actually a very nice thing to have. All right, then. So, should we look at some of the other things then? Here we are with the deep sea poncho paired up with a standard green bandana, and I really have to get this point across. That green bandana is still like dark, still perfectly effective. Like, unfortunately, I didn't have access to a Forest Camo bandana yesterday, and I was using that, wasn't I? But it still does a perfectly fine job, and that actually blends in quite nicely with the deep sea poncho there. Now, the deep sea poncho, it's only like 30 cents more expensive compared to the Reptile Hunter. It's up to you if you'd rather use this, but to be honest with you, if you prefer the Reptile Hunter, I don't blame you. If you want to spend an extra few dollars and go grab the banana leaf, okay. I mean, if you can afford it, I'm not going to stop you. But for what it is, it's doing a perfectly fine, good job. Now, of course, the Fisherman Burlap's still pretty pricey, but we're mixing and matching. We're having some fun. So let's go ahead and take a look at the fish collection now. And here we have the fish collection paired up with the Fisherman Burlap. I've got my booties on, got my leather gloves on, and instead, you know what? Maybe I don't care for a bandana. Why don't I just go get the fish head instead? A nice burlap head wrap. Can't do no wrong. Not that hard to get in game. Just got to find some cloth in the jungle. I've seen a lot of people complaining about it's really hard for them to find hemp and whatnot. Feel free to comment below if you've been struggling. But overall, that looks nice. A lovely amount of green. Did you like this approach? Feel free to comment below. But I think now we should start taking a look and see how these primitive green skins are faring in the jungle. So here I am, getting a good look at this jungle ziggurat. It's peaceful, it's calm, I don't see any people around. I'm sure I'm safe. I'm sure I'm going to be alright. No, I think you've been shot. What? Really? How? Can you see him? Can you see him up there? Right, so of course we've done a bit more mix and matching. I am using the DRUID Burlap there, paired up with the camo netting. We got the snake mask, forest camo bandana, and in this instance I'm using the Divine Bloom AK-47. A very nice and affordable green AK-47 that was an Easter skin that we saw about 2 weeks ago. An Easter skin for 2025. So, yeah, look at all of that. It's not even green. It's got bits of brown and everything. But, you know, against the tree there, it has proven to be pretty helpful. So, did you spot him? Was it easy to notice? Look at that. Now, of course, now that you're looking at it directly, you can spot it. However, if we just kind of shift the sunlight around, that's a bit annoying, isn't it? And you're going to sit and say, but he can't see anything, right? I mean, it's dark for everybody. Well, I mean, like, does that seem like it's an issue? Huh? Does it? That's ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah, and like I said, it's not all green. It's like brown. It's mixing and matching. Again, I don't have to wear an $80 poncho. I could wear another one. So why don't we go see, like, what all the other options are. Let's go do some more mixing and matching and see if the other skins are just as effective. So it's kind of spoiled the whole like nice and peaceful sort of moment, because you know what's going to happen next now, don't you? Yeah. So let's just casually walk over through here. Slowly go over and, well, do you spot them? Do you see them? In this instance, I've gone back to Fisherman Burlap. I'm now using standard leather gloves, frog booties, and of course, I'm wearing the banana, poncho, and bandana with that snake mask. Was it easier to notice? Was it just as effective? Feel free to comment below. Look at that. Oh, now we're sitting. I hit a tree. Sorry about that. I got a hit branch. But yeah, Hedge, you should probably look where you're going backwards. That, I mean, even in the sunlight, was it even that noticeable? And of course, just a little bit of the change, and it's maddening, isn't it? That was significantly cheaper compared to the other poncho we just saw. Do you reckon the leather gloves matter there? Right then, let's go mix and match again. Uh-oh. Oh. Good kitty. I'm gonna go run over here. It's more safer over here, right? Yeah. No, because you might have noticed him by now. There you go. Well then, so in this particular instance, I am using the Reptile Hunter poncho and bandana. Now, of course, just a little bit earlier, I did bring up the fact that with the transparency it has on the bandana, it's a bit detrimental. But in this particular instance, I'm looking down. You know, maybe my snake mask is doing a very good, good job there concealing that. But yeah, I'm sure you understand my point there, because you can see quite a lot more of my pale skin. But, you know, back over to here, it wasn't that noticeable, was it? Nah. So in this particular instance, I am back to using the Burlap, DRUID Burlap set. I have the hide boots, standard hide boots. And again, I am wearing the wasteland leather gloves. $24 for those. Doesn't really make that much of a difference compared to some standard leather gloves. I'm starting to question that. Now, as we go back down over to here, how easy is it to notice? Hedge, do not hit a tree branch. Let's just go down and move back that way. Trying to hit a tree trunk. Right then, so got bugs all over me now, whoopsie. And of course, if we could just quickly move that a bit. Yeah, that's a bit maddening, isn't it? So, in the shade, it looks like it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't matter what you wear. So as long as it's reasonably brown, green, maybe just dark, it looks like you're going to have a fun time. It looks like you're going to have a great time shooting people from up here. What fun this is. Okay, well, Kitty's gone. I have nothing to worry about. I can just have my lovely walks in the jungle, be at peace, taking a lovely stroll, and of course you know exactly what's happened. Alright, so up to here. What do we have now? We are using the deep sea poncho. We're using the standard green bandana. In the shade, it looks a bit darker than what it actually is, so that's interesting. Standard leather gloves, standard high boots, DRUID burlap. That seems to be nice and effective. So down over to here we go. Let's go down a little bit more. Please try and avoid hitting another tree. Good job, Hedge. You did a decent job. Let's just move the sunlight a little bit, and yeah. Same thing. That's very affordable. That's very cheap compared to some of the other things we've seen. I'm sure you'd agree. So, yeah. Again, it feels like, as I said, anything green works. Let's go put on the fish stuff, and maybe we could probably showcase something else as well. Okay, let's just get this over with. Peaceful stroll all the way over to here, and I've just been hooked. Yes. How metaphorical for what I am over here is a fish. So once again, fish burlap head wrap. A nice consideration. It did go up to about $6 at one point, if I can recall, a little bit more. But after the initial buyout from all the speculators, prices did cool off. It's about $3.50 at the moment. For your consideration, perhaps. Of course, I'm using the fish poncho, fish leather gloves, fish burlap shoes, fish burlap clothing. Altogether, that's going to probably set you back about $30, $40. Now, based on what we've seen so far, would you rather just stick with using a cheaper option? I kind of get the feeling that a lot of people might be suggesting that right about now. But this is just the first showcase. This is just like the first instance of us testing things out and the environment. And of course, if we could just quickly tweak that, just like all the previous things. Can you see him? Oh, yeah. So, I think I should probably consider showcasing something a little bit different now. And what might that be? You know what? I don't think I like this area anymore. Let's just get this over with. I'm going to take a stroll, move over to here. But do you see our new thing? I've got to be honest with you, I'm noticing something shining up there. That's a bit of a surprise, because I'm actually wearing the rat mask there. But in this particular instance, I'm wearing Blackout burlap. Now with some standard high boots and standard leather gloves. But the point I'm trying to get across is, perhaps in the sunlight, maybe it's not doing it any favours. But in the shade, even something like Blackout probably will be just as effective in terms of trying to hide in the shadows. Now in theory, that would make sense anywhere else. But in the jungle, is it as good compared to some dark green clothing and whatnot? So over to here, I will move that about, and in the shade, well, there you go. I think that's just as effective. It's not that pricey, Blackout burlap. The shirt, the pants, $2.50 together. The poncho, $3, $4 right about now. Some people may question whether that's cheap, but compared to some of the things we've already shown off, like banana leaf and, well, the camo net, yeah, no. It's actually not that pricey. Okay. Well then, what are your thoughts? I'd love to hear it. Comment below. Let's go somewhere else now. Let's go test out in a different spot. Okay, we just had a little trade. Got myself some very useful tools. Enjoy the scrap, good sir. Okay, let's just get down here. Get to the entrance. And let's get home nice and safely. I have nothing to worry about, right? Everything will be A-okay. Or will it? Can you see them? You could probably spot them by now. There you go. So, yeah. How quick were you to spotting that? Now, if I could just quickly move the sun around. I'm honestly starting to think that rat mask is a little bit too reflective. I saw it just a minute ago with the blackout. When it's like that, hang on a minute, it does stand out quite a lot. Just a minute ago, I was complaining about, having to conceal my pale skin, and yet that rat mask is being all nice and shiny. Well, that's a little bit awkward. Anyway, that's the $150 set right there. All of that on display. Well, actually, no, in this instance, I'm using my frog boots. But maybe you could consider that maybe a little bit more expensive compared to some frog burlap shoes. Alright, anyway, what are your thoughts in this set? Feel free to comment below. But, okay, come on now. Let's actually go showcase some of the other sets now. Alright, so off we go. how easy is it to notice them? Of course, in this instance, we're using banana leaf. And, well, here we are. Here you go. What are your thoughts? In this particular instance, I've decided to put the snake mask back on. If I could just move this around with the sunlight, it doesn't seem to reflect as much compared to the rat mask. So that actually is probably a nice little positive to be aware of in comparison. And oh, now we're in the shade apparently. So yeah, still using the Fisherman Burlap in this particular instance. But of course, the combination there of the bandana and this poncho, still significantly cheaper. And if you could just get a good look at that, that's the vision I have. I could see them coming ever so easily. But they couldn't see me very easily, could they? Let's go ahead and do some more mixing and matching. Once again, here we go. Surely I'll get home nice and safely at some point. Come on now. Alright, so there he is. Was he noticeable? Let's now turn over to here. Reptile Hunter this time. Give that a good look. Seeing just as much as we just saw a minute ago. And yes, this is even cheaper compared to what we just looked at a minute ago with the banana leaf. We are using the DRUID Burlap. And I've got to say, Fisherman or DRUID Burlap, which was a Twitch drop, aka that was given away to everybody for free last year in May 2024. Are you impressed with this? Do you feel you could probably just wear like standard burlap instead, perhaps? Maybe I'll go give that a good try right now. Alright, once again, off we go. But by now you probably would know where to look and whatnot. Here we are, over to here. Now I've got to be honest with you, that did feel like it was a little bit more noticeable. And again, if you could just tweak the sunlight and whatnot. Back over to here. Yeah. As I move away, it changes. As you get closer, it changes. So that's a little bit annoying in this particular instance. But I think you could agree it does a decent job. Get a good look at that. Alright. So, seems to be okay. But just for a couple of dollars, you could probably go ahead and maybe just consider getting, well, I don't know, Blackout. Or, you know what? Fish collection isn't that expensive either. That's a very nice consideration. Anyway, simply using a bandana there and the deep sea poncho, it seems to help, but you probably should try to at least get something that's a bit darker than the standard burlap clothing. That definitely would be a consideration, wouldn't it? So I think we can agree, maybe just having simple, non-skin burlap clothing probably isn't a good shout. Might be good in the desert, not so much in the jungle. You want to have at least some skin that's like dark shading, dark pigment, and well, as we move over to here, it seems to be quite effective when used, like the fish burlap here. Yes, this isn't green. You could consider it being slightly, I'll give you that, but it's not that expensive, and even then, you know, a green poncho isn't that hard to come by, what with the Reptile Hunter poncho and the Deep Sea poncho being very, very approachable with their pricing. And then you can, you know, save a lot more by just using a standard green bandana. Like, yeah, just to, you know, make a nice, effective, primitive kit. It shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that costly. And if we could just move over here, move the sunlight a little bit here, give that a good look. It seems to work. I think that does a perfectly fine, good job there. But maybe we should also test out the Blackout again as well, just to see how that is. And here we go. Right, so as we plod along all the way over to here, what do we see? It does no, well, actually, you know what? When it's like that, what's in the shade, that's actually pretty good. That does look pretty effective. But when it does kind of show off like more sunlight, which you'll see as we back away, yeah, even then, you know, are you going to instantly notice that when you're walking along? Most likely no. And that is a big worry when you're running around in the jungle. It's not just people like this, it's also panthers and tigers. Anyway, so, alright, not too bad. And again, this isn't even that expensive. And there's definitely other black clothing pieces you could look forward to in regards to burlap, and of course ponchos. Alright then, so why don't we go ahead and move to a different spot again? Right. I'm starving. I'm thirsty. The gas station's just over there. I'll be right. I'll be safe soon, right? Yeah? I'm sorry, no. If I could just reverse a little bit. Can you spot them? Can you see them? Because they're right over there. Yep. Just standing there. Only to the side of the tree. Who here actually noticed that? Now this is the $150 expensive set. As you can see, with the camo netting poncho, fisherman clothing. I do have my fish booties on as well, with my wasteland leather gloves. It it looks like it did a pretty good job there, don't you think? So, why don't we go ahead and see how effective the other options are? And if you're curious, you're going to sit there and say, "Oh, but he probably saw nothing." No, he easily saw you walk out. Wasn't a problem for this guy here. No. So, we're moving along again. And do you spot them? The shade is ridiculous, isn't it? It's absolutely ridiculous. Look at that. Maybe I should move the sun around a little bit more. Would it be as noticeable? Yeah, what about now? Does it really make that much difference? Right, anyway, so as I get closer and closer, you will see that this is the banana leaf option. I am using DRUID Burlap once again. I am using the Reptile still. But overall, looks like it was just as effective, wasn't it? This is madness. How many of you have actually been enjoying the jungle biome? Are you the rats in the bushes? Are you the ones hiding and ambushing people? How successful is it? Right, okay then, so come on, let's change it up again. Alright, surely this time, right? Surely this time I'm going to be okay. No. So, in this particular instance, we've gone even cheaper. Over to here, it's Reptile Hunter time, but I'm not using the bandana. So, this is also using the snake mask, and as you can see, well, there you go. This is ridiculous. It really is. So, just try and time everything correctly, figure out where the sun is at all times, find the best little shaded spot, and I think you're going to win all the time. Oh, this is ridiculous. So yeah, DRUID Burlap. You should have got that for absolutely free. Alright, that's actually looking to be very, very useful, isn't it? And you probably didn't even realise, because I think a lot of people got that for absolutely free because it's a generic drop back in May 2024. And well, maybe you'll start using it a lot more from here and now. It's never safe. I'll never make it. I'll never be able to eat a snack. So over to here this time, it is the deep sea poncho. Not much has changed in regards to what we just saw a second ago. Essentially the same thing. Now, let's also just tweak the sunlight a little bit. Try and make it a little bit lighter over here. Come on, sunlight, don't be scared. There we go. Right. And even then, the greens, the browns, the burlap there, definitely helping out. Snake mask, not very reflective. Do you reckon it's just too good? And that costs not that much, does it? Snake mask, alright, $3. Sea poncho, alright, yeah, $2. If you're going to consider the AK, that'd be another $1. Standard leather gloves. That is standard hide boots. And that is a forest green camo bandana. Oh, that's only an extra 30 cents. And to see how effective it is? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well then, shall we go ahead and take a look at the fish stuff now? Time to find that fishy, but I don't think many people would have spotted him. Now again, you know where to look, but for the person who's never even noticed that they're there for the first time, yeah. So that is the burlap clothing, fish burlap shoes, leather gloves. In this particular instance, I'm using the bandana with the snake mask and the poncho. So again, that's not like super reflective and super shiny. As I keep backing away, I mean, and as we tweak the sound about, yeah, there you go. Oh, great, awesome. It's not that pricey, is it? Well, actually, no, it's about $30 to $40. But still, you know, with all the other things we just saw, I think we've made a strong point. Green camouflage is ridiculous in this biome. But another point we've also said, even Blackout seems to work out quite nicely. Reverse, reverse. Now, I've got to be honest with you, you knew where to look. That does seem to be a bit more noticeable. But again, as you're moving along, how easy is that going to be to spot? So yes, here we have the full Blackout set here. Burlap, Poncho, forest camo bandana with the snake mask, standard leather gloves, standard hide boots, and of course, tweak the sun a bit. Come on, let's get some sunlight. There you go. Right. Well, out of all these skins we've shown off today, which one do you think is the best combination? Which is the combination you're thinking you're going to be approaching? Because you might also consider budget. Right then, so I think there's an extra thing I should have taken it. Oh, it didn't spot me. It works. That was actually fully unintentional. I was not expecting that. The point I was trying to get across is, recently we also happened to get some wood armor, that being the very special coconut armor, and with that basically being all brown, why don't I also give that a bit of a test spin? So let's hop to it. And by that, I mean the Jungle Collection Pack. So with the Jungle Update being introduced on May 1st, 2025, we got this pack right here for $13, a whole lot of goodies inside. Of course, the coconut armor. But not only do you get that, you also get the Jungle Assault Rifle, the Jungle Rock, the wallpaper, the bamboo shelves, the bamboo barrels, the emote. You probably don't want that other stuff. Okay. Well, you're still spending $13 for this coconut armor then. And, hey, okay, that might sound a bit iffy, but have you actually seen this in the jungle? Have you actually tested it out in terms of camouflage? Well, why don't we go ahead and do that right now then? And get a good look at that in all its glory. So, in terms of a full set, this is the first ever skins we've had for wood armor. And of course, when this was being made, they had to introduce wood armor gloves. This is actually a bit of an upgrade compared to the primitive skins that we were looking at just a second ago, isn't it? So, okay. Does it work? Well, considering we made the point with the Blackout clothing, I think it does. Let's go test it out right now. Let's go do some similar spots and see if this is pretty good in terms of being jungle camouflage. Well, looks like we're back here again, but, well, you know exactly what we're going to be doing. So, as we get closer and closer, can you spot me? Can you see my face? Because that's actually a point I need to get across to all of you. Whoop! So here I am with the full coconut armor set on. Of course, with the brand new Jungle Assault Rifle, looking ever so nice and shiny. But this actually uses up quite a lot of slots, so if I could just quickly go into my body. Whoop! Wow. Yeah, good look at that AK, by the way. Yeah. But the main thing I'm here to talk about is, well, I only have so many slots, and I only have so many things I can, like conceal. So, what would you rather do? Put on a bandana, or would you rather put on some mighty fine-looking booties for your, your feet? You might also consider, well, hang on a minute, why not just take off like this burlap shirt here, that being the DRUID burlap shirt? Oh, well, there you go. Now I can see more of my flesh. That might be a bit of a problem. What would you like to do? Now, there is another consideration. It is, of course, going to cost you more money. If you go over to your underwear, you might have all like the lovely summer underwear from the Sunburn DLC. But another consideration is buying mummy wraps. Now, they cost $8, but that is underwear. And as you can see, my body is essentially concealed. That's helpful. It's useful. And with that, because I've now it's concealed that, and you don't necessarily need the shirt then, I could put this on and I feel a lot more comfortable. Now, if I were to just quickly switch these around and then take this armor off, this underwear off, there you go. Okay, now my legs are noticeable. So, it's a consideration. You tell me what you'd rather do. But again, just switch it around. Can't see much there. And if I were to go outside my body once more, turn around, go all the way over to here, woo. It looks a lot more concealed now. It looks a lot more harder to notice. So, what are your thoughts? Feel free to comment below. And of course, Hedge, don't forget, let's go, put them in the shade a little bit more, see how that looks. And based on what we saw earlier, it was pretty effective when we have, like, darker clothing on and whatnot. And that also seems to be matching up quite nicely with that theme, so, okay, not too bad. Shall we go test it out some other spots? Yeah. Alright, back here again. Let's make a move. Off we go. And, can you spot me? You know where to look, so it's not fair. Shut up. Alright, so as we get closer and closer, there we go. Get a good look at that. I look pretty concealed. Let's just move the sun around as well. Just gets into some nice looking shading. Come on now, don't be scared. There you go. Right, so give that a good look. It seems like it's doing a pretty good job. And of course, you've got a question. Well, you know, how much vision does he actually have? Well, again, over to here. I've got perfect vision. I can see everything. I can see loads of people walking out there. So coconut armor, honestly, is looking pretty good. It's looking like it's doing a pretty good job in terms of camouflage. So once again, let's go test it out in another spot. Okay, come on then. Oh, get all these leaves and plants out of my face. I need to get to that gas station. I'm starving. I'm thirsty. God, it's just over there. I'm almost there. I'm going to reach it. I'm going to be A-okay. I'm going to be safe. Everything's going to be all right, surely. Can you see him? There we go, yeah. Well, not too bad. Standing pretty much out in the open. As much as you're going to sit there and say, you're standing in leaves. I mean, come on now. There's leaves everywhere. Right, okay, so let's just move the sun about. There we go. So, overall, what are your thoughts? Honestly, I think we've essentially figured it out. So as long as you're wearing some dark clothing, brown, green, even black, if you conceal your body, if you're pale, obviously it's an issue, but if you could conceal all of your body, stand in the shade, you're probably doing A-okay. You're going to be doing all right in this jungle biome. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe. But a lot of people have been asking me about these things. And I've just had someone say, oh, do you reckon you could test out Frontier Hazmat? I'll be honest with you, after seeing how effective this is, I'm pretty sure that Hazmat's going to be A-okay. Just stand in the shade. That's probably the moral of the story, isn't it? So overall, out of all the skins we have showcased today, which ones have impressed you the most? Are you going to consider the $150 primitive set? Who knows, in the future, some people might be watching this video like 2 or 3 years after it came out and then say, it's got cheaper now. Well, duh, maybe, or you never know, it might get even more expensive. Anyway, come on now, shall we wrap this up? Let's go ahead and just kind of talk about the final few things and then finish. Okay, so let's wrap this up. We saw a lot of skins today, yes indeed, and I'd love to see you comment below which ones impressed you the most. Which ones are you considering buying for yourself to you run around in or hide in some bushes? So you've got to stay optimistic. Just to point out, today is May 2nd, it is the Friday, and we actually didn't beat the player count that we saw yesterday for the force wipe on Thursday. This video should be out on the Saturday, and with this being the primitive video, you should look forward to some core pieces in another separate video. Yep, yes. So if you're wondering, why didn't Hedge show off tier 3 armor and tier 2 and hoodie and pants, like jackets, whatnot? No. That'll be for a separate video, okay? So please be aware of that. Stay optimistic. Yes, maybe the peak player count we saw for the force wipe isn't that impressive, but it's still better than what we had with the previous month, which was expected to be the lowest point. And from here on now, we should only see improvement. From here on now, fingers crossed, we will see a lot more people playing. Kids to be at school. With even more playing, more people enjoying themselves. We'll see prices improve, and we'll see skin prices becoming ever so lovely and profitable. Did you happen to invest in any green skins? Did you happen to buy out anything? Feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to see what you've been up to. But let's actually showcase, the prices of all the skins we've been showing off today. So as we go over to here, just to remind everybody, yes, this is, still appears to be broken. This is a Steam issue though. This isn't Facepunch. This is Steam. Go look at the Counter-Strike section on Steam, TF2. Dota, it's all the same, alright? If that's fixed at some point, that'd be nice, and we'll actually be able to stay up to date in regards to what skins are getting bought out every hour and whatnot. Anyway, over to here, Snake Mask, we looked at it earlier, looks like it's had a few more sales, looks like it's now pushing up to $3.50, alright, cool. It definitely needs a bandana though, so. Now, with the Rat Mask, $20 almost. But between these two today, which one impressed you the most? Which one did you happen to like more? And over to here, Camo Netting Poncho, $78. Well, the Barda's kind of pushing up to 60, but yeah, it's still expensive. Yeah, look nice, but a bit pricey. And compared to the other skins we looked at, honestly, I don't think that really helps with, justifies the price here. I think you could just look at something else. Over to here, these two bandanas, very nice and affordable. Now, these are like your normal drops, when you play a lot of Rust and every now and then you get like some free skins. Both of these bandanas you can get for absolutely free, and because of that, they are very cheap. Now, they have been bought out, what with, you know, the jungle hype. So, the green bandana, and of course, forest camo bandana. Look at that. But, yeah, they do have a lot of sales every day. They do be appreciated a lot. And for such a, you know, a minimal fee, I'm sure with what we've seen so far, like with all the things, and including the brand new coconut armor, they were nice and effective, weren't they? So, it's definitely something for you to consider picking up for yourself. And over to here, Fisherman Burlap shirt and pants, $10.40, $12.48. Yeah, they are pretty expensive. Now, to counter that, you very likely own DRUID Burlap shirt and pants. I'm not joking. Back in May 2024, you may remember all these Twitch drops. These were a generic drop. If you're watching anyone in May 2024 on Twitch playing Rust, you surely have got these, alright? So, make good use of them. They were that I'm pretty sure we've proved that they were pretty effective today, weren't they? So, there you go. DRUID Burlap shirt, produced by Johnny Old Boy. Lovely looking skins. They were actually intended to be in a Rust store like years ago, but Facebook was like, let's give them away as a Twitch drop. Alright, well, we got them for free, can't complain. Now over to here, Wasteland Hunter gloves. A lot of people kept mentioning this, and well, I made sure to showcase it with all the skins today, but $24? Honestly, like, did you even think that they were that effective today? It was funny to incorporate it in the most expensive primitive set, that being the $150 set, but honestly, I don't think I need them. I could just use standard gloves. Standard gloves seem to be more than enough. So, alright, you can offer your own opinion in that regard. Now over to here, Banana Leaf. That is now pushing up to $3.49. Banana Leaf Poncho is still solid at $9. It was $20, you know, during all the hype, but it seems like this is its strong position now. Well, could this gracefully rise up in price over the course of this summer? Has it impressed you in this video? Or, you know, in comparison to, I don't know, maybe the Reptile Hunter? Maybe you'd just rather, you know, much rather stick with that. $9 for Banana Leaf Poncho, or you could probably go ahead and buy 4.5 of these instead. And I do think that might be getting cheaper considering the amount that are being bought. Let's keep an eye on this. At the end of the day, just go buy a pair for yourself because, of course, you know, it's useful. But if you're looking at it as an investment, well, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Right, so yeah, these two skins, they did appear to work quite nicely. They actually kind of blended quite nicely with the Fisherman Burlap stuff, didn't they? So, yep. Alright then. Now, over to here, we also happen to have the Deep Sea Poncho. This was the cheapest green poncho for a while. And of course, Reptile Hunter appeared in the Rust store. Useful green poncho, I should clarify. Useful. It could potentially rise up more, you know, that's very thin over the course of the summer. Could it gracefully rise up in price? With the showcase today, I think it kind of proved to be still very nice and useful. So, okay, cool. Over to here, Fish Head. We're rolling into the Fish Collection skins. $3.50 almost. Could go higher. Oh, 27 listing there. What are you doing? What are you doing? But it covers the whole head, and I'm sure a lot of people do appreciate that. So, very useful, I'm sure. Over to here, the Poncho. It's a bit shiny. The eyeball was a bit noticeable, but $4.60 now. I know it was a little bit more pricey before, or just a little bit. It was pushed up to about $6 at one point. Now it's calmed down, but with some of the other skins we've just looked at, they also reached much higher. So, looks like that's a little bit more stable is the point I'm trying to get across. Then we have the fish shirt, and of course the pants. Now these are actually a lot more pricey than what I realised. This is almost $4. This is just over $4. Ha! Maybe I'll stick with the DRUID stuff still. Fish bandana, basically $1. What are you doing here, sir? Well, you know what? Maybe you could just stick with the green bandana and the forest camo bandana. What are you doing, though? Ugh. Anyway, over to here, fish gloves. Do you need green gloves? We just talked about Wasteland Hunter just a second ago. This is almost pushing $7. Maybe you just want like the standard leather gloves. And then fish shoes. $12.30. I think I might just stick with hard boots. Again, you can offer your own opinions. Here we have the green AK. I'm not joking. It's very approachable, very affordable. You might look at military camo AK. You might look at fish AK. You might even consider looking at the Ruin AK. Well, they're considerably more expensive, those green AK-47s. But this, well, it's less than $1. I'm sure a lot of you might consider appreciating that. For your thoughts? And then over to here, Blackout Burlap. It's honestly not that expensive. $1.28 here, $1.53 here for the pants. There is a lot of it as well. That's looking like it's going to take quite some time until it eventually goes up in price. There was an absolutely absurd amount of these that were bought when they're in the Rust store, but it still has some good demand. And after today, with what I've showcased, it was proven to be pretty effective in the shadows of the jungle. So, okay. And then, of course, we had the Poncho here as well. $3.50 almost. Could go higher. 30 there, but yeah. All right then. So, overall, lots of interesting skins. But I want to see what you think. And, yeah, it's been pretty fun. Like, all of this has essentially happened within a month. It just went, and then, yeah, money thrown everywhere. Hopefully, you know, we constantly see it, and, you know, we keep up with the momentum. We see the nice, graceful rising in price, and it might not be an immediate thing. You've got to be aware of that. Once again, got to point out, it's not like post-Christmas. The summer goes on for longer, and it might take a while for it to actually reach its high point. Again, probably around July, August. But I'm thinking a lot of people are enjoying the jungle update. I'm thinking these skins are actually getting purchased quite a fair bit still, and I can see them holding their value, slowly going up, and potentially they could be surpassing the prices they initially reached when we had the initial hype with the jungle hype. So, cool. So, let's wrap this up. Here I am. Finally got my drink, as you can see here. Were you impressed with the coconut armor here? What about the AK? That was also looking pretty sweet as well. But yeah, that's a wrap. Thank you very much for watching me. And just to remind all of you, Tier 3, Tier 2, hoodie and pants, that will be a separate video. And, well, you can look forward to that potentially in the next few days. If I'm fast enough to record all of it.